Hey, hey, hey. Okay, so we talking about the 7 pillars, right? What are you packing? Are you packing purpose or are you packing pain? And a lot of times people is packing pain, okay? A whole lot of times people be packing pain, okay? So the second pillar, right? The second bag that we talking about when we talking about okay, we going, what's the process, right? What is the process for going from pain to purpose, right? So the second one we talking about is foundation, okay? What are you building your house on? What are you building on, okay? The second one is foundation because your foundation is going to matter. What you building on is going to matter, okay? And what you building on is going to be the difference from okay, well, I'm doing the work, why am I not getting it? Because what are you building on? What is your foundation on? Are you building on sand or are you building on solid ground? What are you building on? Okay, and if you building on sand, that's a problem, right? If you building on sand, that's a problem, right? If you building on solid ground, then okay, right? Then okay, it matters. So what is your foundation looking like? Let's get it. What is some reasons we need to check your foundation? What is some reasons you may be building on sand? What is some reasons your foundation may not be sturdy? Okay, so when we look at it's a verse in the Bible, right? It's a verse in the Bible where God said this builder built on sand, right? And the other builder built on a rock. And when the storm came, they did the same work, right? They both did the same work, right? But one built on sand, the other one built on rock. It was the foundation and what you're building on. So when we look at it, okay, let's check. Are you building on sand, right? Or are you building on solid ground? That's a question. So when we talking about you building on sand, you building without purpose. What are you doing? You have no purpose. You moving through life with no clear direction. No clear direction, no meaningful. You not making nothing meaningful. All you doing is working, 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 talking about you going to get this money to do this and do that. Like, that's a problem. Okay? That's a problem. You following trends. You following what other people do because it's looking popular. You are building a purpose. You are building without a purpose. What is the meaning of that? What are you building? What are you doing? You cannot be building without no purpose. That is a problem. That is a problem. That is a problem. Building on sand. I'm sorry. Building on feelings. Building on feelings. Okay? Making decisions based only on emotions, quitting whenever motivation disappears, and letting your moods determine your actions. You building on sand. You building on shaky ground. That's a problem. You building on sand. You can't let your decisions be based off your feelings. Okay, when the motivation disappears, you can't let the motivation be the determining factor whether you move or not. Okay, you can't let the motivation be the determining factor of your moods. Okay, so you gotta you building on feelings, you building on sand. Other people's opinions. Number three. This is how you know you building on sand. Other people's opinions. You care too much about what somebody else think. You care too much when they life messed up. You care too much when they ain't got nothing. You care too much when they money hungry. You care too much when they greedy. You care too much when they shallow. You care too much when you see they jealousy. You care too much. You care too much about other people's opinions. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay? You needing constant approval. Changing who you is just to fit in. Because you care about what they think. That's a problem. Allowing criticism to stop your growth. Problem. This one we see a lot. This one right here we see a lot. Number 4, we see a lot all the time. Building on money alone. All your motive is money. That's a sad, sad motive. That's a very sad motive. You don't have no meaning. You just got money to that thing. You building off money alone just so you can get some money. Believing that money will solve every problem. Money is not going to solve every problem. Money is not going to solve every problem. Tying self-worth to your income. What? I know a lot of crappy people that got money. Okay, they got money. But ain't worth nothing. Nothing. Okay? Feeling empty even after financial success. Because you're greedy. You're looking at the money. The money don't mean the money. Building on money alone. I already did that. I'm sorry. That's number 4. Number 5. Building on pain. You building on pain. Saying, this is saying, letting past hurt define your future. Right? You study bringing up the past. I remember this. I remember that. I remember back then. I remember when. That's gone. The only thing you should be doing is learning from the past. That's it. That's all. Right? Making decisions from bitterness, anger, or fear. Saying. Staying stuck in old stories. Replaying them old stories over and over and over and over again. Building without self-awareness. You don't know who you is. How you building and you don't know who you is. That's why you got to know who you is first. That's why identity is the first one. That's why identity is the first bag, right? You don't even know who you is. You're not even aware of what you can do and what you can't do. You didn't even take the time. You've been ignoring your triggers and you study wondering why every time you go around certain people, they pulling you out your body. You don't know why you feel this way and why you feel that way when you go in certain areas because you didn't take the time to get to know who you is and what makes you tick. That is a problem, and that you need to know all that when it comes to building on solid ground. Number 7, you building without God. That's gonna fall. That's gonna fall. I'm gonna tell you that is gonna fall. But it has fallen. I'm sure you built before without God, and I'm sure you saw it collapse. I'm sure you saw it just go to straight, just go down. I'm sure you seen it just go down because you thought you could do it without God. You thought you could do it with that man. You thought you could do it with that woman. You thought you could do it with your mama. You thought you could do it with your daddy. You thought you could do it with everybody else, but you didn't put God in the midst of it first. And maybe you could do it with those people. Maybe you can't do it with those people, right? But whatever, you didn't put God first. So you would never know because you building without God, and that's a problem. Discipline. You have no discipline. No discipline whatsoever. You just doing things, starting everything and not finishing nothing. You ain't finishing nothing. Because you have no discipline to keep on going with what it is. Every time something happen, you like, oh, this too hard. Maybe it's a sign for me to stop. Maybe it's a sign for me to not do this. Maybe it's a sign for me to not do that. And now you done. No discipline. You living with excuses instead of commitment. Oh, I didn't do it because of this. Oh, this happened, that happened. I couldn't do it because of this. Ooh, building with a fake identity. With a fake identity. You trying to build with a role that the world gave you. You trying to build your foundation on the roles that the world gave you. Nah, you can't build on no fake identity. Okay, you pretending to be somebody you not. You wearing masks to impress people. You trying to prove things to people. You chasing images instead of who you truly is. Like, yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. You can't, that you building on sand. That's a fake identity. And the last one, when we talking about foundation and you building on sand, is you building without healing. Carrying unresolved wounds into every relationship you go in. You tracking them bags with you. You packing pain, baby. You packing that pain. That's all you do is pack that pain everywhere you go. You take it everywhere you go. And you think that you can change locations and that it'll stop. No. The pain's going to still go because you packed pain. You reacting instead of responding because you don't know your triggers. So every time you go somewhere where you triggered and you don't know that you triggered in those areas, now you reacting. They got you outside your body. You acting cray-cray. Now the triggers is controlling your behavior. Now the triggers is controlling how you move. Now the triggers is controlling how you showing up, right? Because you didn't take the time to say, okay, well, what is this that's actually triggering me? What is it that's bothering me? Who is it that's bothering me? Why is this always triggering me? You didn't take the time to do that. So you're building on sand, okay? That's another way to know that you are building on sand. And again, if you feeling like you building on sand and you like, okay, foundation, and I need to know what's triggering me, this book is a good tracker for triggers, okay? This book is a great tracker for triggers. So you may want to get this book, okay? And you want to join community, 630-863-3142.